Annabelle Creation is directed by David F. Sandberg, the director of Lights Out, and stars Stephanie Sigmund, Talitha Bateman, Anthony LaPaglia, Lulu Wilson, and Miranda Otto. It is a prequel to Annabelle, which was in itself a prequel to The Conjuring. So we have a prequel to a prequel, which was shit. This movie tells the origin story of the Annabelle doll and how it terrorised an innocent group of girls accepted into an old couple's home, somehow leading into the events of the first Annabelle film. Now, I went into this not expecting a whole lot. I mean, a prequel to a prequel that was most charitably described as a bigger load of wank than the Overwatch Rule 34 page doesn't exactly ignite me with hope. However, it is directed by David F. Sandberg, and I actually quite enjoyed Lights Out, so I was somewhat hopeful. And honestly, I'm impressed. This is a pretty well done horror film. It's not amazing. It has many of the same trappings Lights Out had, but it was a surprising little gem that no one expected to be a gem. Speaking of Lights Out, though, at times I wasn't entirely unconvinced that Sandberg didn't think he was making a sequel to Lights Out, as he does once again prove himself a bloody master with the lighting and cinematography overall, which, if he keeps this up, I think he's honestly one of my favourite horror directors working today, even though he's only done 2 films that I know of, anyway. But yeah, the way it's shot, it was responsible for most of the scare factor alone, which was really damn impressive by itself. Maybe even more so when you remember that you apparently aren't allowed a big budget horror film with any semblance of tension in it anymore. But as I was thinking that to myself in the cinema, I suddenly started drawing strange parallels between this and Ouija Origin of Evil from last year, which was also a prequel to a really shitty 2014 horror that no one expected to be good, and yet it was, and was set in the late 50s, early 60s, and also starred Lulu Wilson. Speaking of her, this girl has a bright future ahead of her, or at least in horror anyway. I honestly thought for most of the time she was one of the best actors in the film. She was far better than a lot of the older ones. And she also sets up a great and believable friendship with her friend Janice, played also pretty well by Talitha Bateman most of the time. You know, no spoilers, but towards the end she kind of loses the plot a bit. She's not that good by the end. Naturally, the film can't resist its fair share of jump scares, but I'd say it earns them by boiling up to them effectively and having moments where you expect one and there isn't. It makes it more scary, in my opinion. But unfortunately, when the shit really hits the fan and no one is safe anymore, everyone's being attacked by whatever's haunting the house, I did feel the scares degrade a bit. There's no real cool down time when that starts happening, and you know, the number one rule of horror, okay, maybe not the number one, but in the top 10, is that things get less scary the more you see of them, so don't show them a lot. But yeah, there's no real cool down time when the shit really hits the fan, so it becomes less scary by a lot. But by far, like, the best scenes were early on. They were the 2 where Janice walks into the room where they keep the creepy doll, and even if it is taking a not insignificant amount of suspension of disbelief that this little girl will walk into a room again after what happened the first time, there were so many nope moments in these 2 scenes. And while the rest of the film is scary, it really pales in comparison to those 2 and a certain one in between them that I refuse to spoil. And finally, while I can't deny the film's how surprising it was that this was even okay when you compare it to the first Annabelle, and how surprising it was that it actually unsettled me, I also couldn't help but notice that it does next to nothing new for the horror genre. I mean, we've seen 1950s, 60s period pieces before, we've seen creepy dolls before, we've seen creepy little possessed girls before. And while I was surprised by the performances and creeped out by most scenes, I could never shake the feeling that it's all stuff we've seen before. But it's all done really well. It's a fun, haunted house thing, even if it's pretty unoriginal, it's all done well, and even that is far better than this film deserved to be. I'm going to give Annabelle Creation a 7 out of 10. And yeah, actually we're looking forward to what David F. Sandberg does next. So guys, have you seen Annabelle Creation? What did you think of it? Or what is the best Conjuring movie so far? Thanks for watching. Have a good one.